They got so close tonight, yet it feels so far away. A competitive effort. The Wizards let it get away late. Once a 16-point lead, the Washington Wizards fall apart late. They've lost 14 games in a row. Let's break it all down on Locked On Wizards.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
DC family, you're locked on to the Washington Wizards. We're your part of our family. We thank you for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team, the Washington Wizards, every day. Alongside the DC sports content creating savant Abdullah Ayubi, I'm Ben Strober, and I cover DC sports for 106.7 The Fan. In the team 980, 121 to 120. Chicago takes it. The Wizards have lost 14 games in a row. The Wizards led for 42 minutes in this game. They had the lead late in this one, and Chicago catches fire at the end. AB, we've seen this story now a few times this season, and the streak lives on.
Yeah, it was a close night in Chicago. Corey Kispert, Cam Whitmore balling out tonight. Corey Kispert got to start 20 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Cam Whitmore, 20.7 rebounds, 2 assists. I mean, I got to eat crow. I'm always talking about how the Wizards should move on from Corey Kispert. But, man, he was balling out tonight. Alex Carr back in the lineup, double-double with 16 points, 11 rebounds. TV, Vooch for the Wizards, not the Bulls. We'll talk about the Bulls' Vooch. But our Vooch, 12 points, 8 rebounds. It's nice to see that. CJ McCollum with 18. And also tonight, Ben, the Wizards were very short-handed. No Trey Johnson. He was out. No A.J. Johnson. No Marvin Bagley. No Chris Middleton. And this is what I'm talking about. I understand it's a loss, but moral victories. You kept it close against a Bulls team that started off really hot, went on a losing streak, but they're trying to get back to Bulls basketball.
Yeah. I want to go through that last play and what happened. So possession before, where the Wizards trailing by a point. It ends with a Keyshawn George isolation and a mid-range shot that he misses to the left. Bulls get the rebound, and Jones. Yeah, that's Colby Jones. Or Colby White, I'm sorry, not Colby Jones, the former Wizard. Colby White.
I think they have Trey Jones, too.
Yeah, they have Trey Jones. So Colby White launches a three. He misses. It goes in and out. Sarr gets the rebound, and the Wizards have another opportunity with 6 seconds. Bub is in there to inbound the basketball. They have a hard time getting it in. They finally get it into Keyshawn. He spins into a double team and ultimately loses the ball. It trickles out of bounds past McCollum, and the Wizards lose like that. A really devastating way to see that go down, because you would have liked to see this young team have a chance to get a shot up at the final buzzer, a chance to win this game, and ultimately that does not happen for this Wizards team today. I'm not sure what exactly was drawn up out of the timeout by Keefe there, but certainly nothing was executed, and that was probably the worst possible case scenario for what could have happened. But with that being said, yesterday we just begged for this team to show some life, show some competitiveness, show some desperation. Like, look interested in the game. Look like you're having fun. The Wizards looked like they were having fun, especially early on in this game. And I just think back to the first quarter, 41 points, a season high in the first quarter.
You gave up 40, but still scoring 41. That's impressive.
Yeah, and one thing I want to point out with the Wizards in this game, it was maybe their best performance in quite some time in terms of the results on the floor, like the score. But the Wizards were having a lot of issues masked by the way they shot from three. The Wizards end up shooting 16 of 36 from three tonight, so 45% compared to Chicago, who ended up shooting 27% from three, but made some big ones late that helped them steal this one. And Drew Gooden pointed out multiple times, offensive rebounds were an issue once again. The Wizards gave up 17 of those. The Wizards were still turning it over at a pretty high rate, 15 tonight. But because the Wizards shot the three ball so well tonight, a la Corey Kispert, who was excellent tonight, it masked some of the deficiencies they had tonight. And ultimately, it comes back to bite them in the end. Once Chicago got hot in that fourth quarter, that's where you started to really get uncomfortable if you were the Wizards, because you knew it was going to come down to the wire, and these type of games have not fared well for the Wizards so far this year. But we'll get into plenty as we roll along the program here. We'll give you a chance to let it all out in just a couple of minutes. Slightly shorter show today. But AB, big night for Cam Whitmore. I want to highlight him.
I mean, Ben, this is a guy who first couple of games couldn't find a rotation spot here, and now he is averaging 18 to 20 points per game now. This guy has a poster every single game. He is so freaking athletic. You tweeted it, that poster that he had, or that dunk that he had, it looked like it was John Wall back when he was going up against Atlanta in that playoff series. I mean, guys, he is so freaking athletic, and he needs to be the dunk contest, or maybe a contestant somehow, because like it's just so fun watching Cam Whitmore play basketball. He is a running back when he goes down the lane, and 7 rebounds alongside 2 assists, doing it in different paces of the game. I think, again, 18 minutes, Ben, I don't think it's enough. I think you need at least 20 to 25, and I understand the conversation of him being a starter, but a guy like him who plays coming off the bench, that's the guy that you need. But I understand the conversation of wanting him to start. But if you can have a guy like this that comes off the bench, I think that's more ideal. But shout out to Cam Whitmore. I remember people were writing him off too soon, saying that this was waste of 2 second-round picks, like it was a big risk. I think this guy found a home here in D.C. Just got to give him more reps. And it starts off with giving him, I'll say 25 minutes a game, man. That's just not enough. 18 is not enough.
So one thing I'm noticing with Whitmore, and when I tweeted this out, I said, I think Cam Whitmore's starting to show what a lot of the hype was around him this summer. Everybody within the local media, there was a lot of hype even from the national pundits saying, hey, the Wizards might have got a steal. Up 2 second-round picks because of his athleticism, his ability. And I think the first 8 or 9 games of the season, he was adjusting to what his role would be with this team, kind of getting used to his teammates. And that's one thing he told the reporters, that he was getting used to the adjustment of playing within this system and what was going to be asked of him. I think he's starting to show the kind of player we maybe expected from him throughout the majority of the summer. One thing that's really stood out to me is that jab step that he's used. He's utilized it so well over the past couple of games. He's really quick and twitchy with it. You'll see him jab 2 or 3 times, get his defender on his heels, and he's been very methodical in the way he's attacked the basket, drawn in the defense, and even playmaking for other guys as well, something that's been a lot better for Whitmore. But just the ability to slash, get to the rim, and get buckets using his physicality night in, night out has been a big, big point of emphasis for Cam Whitmore that continues to get better in every single game. So like you said, really that fourth quarter, they took him out of the game with 8 minutes left. I was like, why? Like, we should see him play down the stretch here. They put him back in for the final 4 minutes or so, but didn't get to see him have those opportunities to take the shots late in the game. I feel like it was a situation where you could have let him go to work, let Kispert go to work, because these guys are the hot hand in the game. But I think that's kind of been a theme for Keefe, where you see the hot hand ultimately get cooled down because they either take him out or he doesn't get the shot opportunities late in the game. That's just kind of been the unfortunate reality for the Wizards late in these contests. I don't know what was drawn up on the final play there, but no execution whatsoever. Keyshawn George.
It looked like he got fouled, but I think it was just a really good play on the ball.
Yeah, people think they should have challenged it, but I don't know. I'd have to get another look at it once again. I've only really seen it the one time. George had a great game. 17 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, but still, once again, 4 turnovers. He obviously turns it over late. 4 steals for George as well, so played well on the defensive side of the basketball.
And 2 personal fouls. Got to give credit to that, too.
Yeah. This team's got to find a way to get another opportunity at these clutch time moments, winning time moments, as Dan Quinn would say for the Commanders, but they need to finally come through. They've had these opportunities, you think, to the Philadelphia game, the first half of the Charlotte game, the Detroit game, and they haven't been able to come through outside of the Dallas game. And, it hurts to see. It hurts to see where, like, the inexperience ultimately leads to them falling apart and losing another game. That's 14 games in a row. Hopefully this is a sign that they're going to start to compete a little bit more, or at least more often than usual. But it's tough to not see them get the win.
Yeah, and it was a positive seeing that a young guy in Keyshawn George, who I think made that 3-point shot, and Coach Keefe was saying that mid-range shot is butter for him, so I kind of understand why he dropped the plays for him. And that shows the confidence of Keyshawn George and how much Coach Keefe trusts him. But I think it was nice to see what I'm trying to get at. No CJ McCollum taking that last shot, Ben. I talked about going into the season. I don't want Middleton or CJ taking those last shots. I want the young guys taking those shots. Also, I know we talking a lot about Cam and Keyshawn and Corey, but Bilal Koulibaly tonight, Ben. only 6 shots, 7 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. Where's the aggressive Bilal? A guy who is really explosive as well, alongside Cam Whitmore. Didn't see enough of it. Justin Champagne came in. He played 23 minutes, gave some defensive spark. Bub Carrington only with 8 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. So, again, the idea of year 2 Bub, the jury's still out there. I still think he can be a solid player on this team. Just got to figure out that role. But it was nice to see Alex Sarr back in the lineup because, Ben, I was thinking another night without Sarr or Bagley, it was going to be rough because this Bulls team, they have really big dudes in Vucevic, Bucelis, Josh Giddey, who had a triple-double. I think they're still a good quality team, and you put up a good fight. But, again, you just got to figure out how to close games because I understand there's inexperience and young guys on this team. But if you don't want to tie that losing streak of last season or you don't want to break the record in NBA history, you got to figure out ways to win games like this.
Absolutely. Hopefully another opportunity arises for these young guys soon. Let's take our first break. When we come back, we'll let it all out for the final segment here on Locked On Wizards. Let's talk about something every business owner knows too well: missed calls. When a customer tries to reach you and can't get through, that's money slipping away. Quo, spelled Quo, is the smarter way to run your business communications so you never miss an opportunity. Quo is the #1 business phone system built for 2025, not 1995. It's simple, modern, and designed to help you communicate faster, look more professional, and stay connected wherever you're working. I love that Quo works right from an app on your phone or computer. No extra devices, no clunky landlines. Your whole team can share one number and collaborate on calls and texts like a shared inbox, which means customers get help faster. Try Quo for free at quo.com/LockedOnNBA. That's QUO.com/LockedOnNBA. And yes, you can even keep your existing number. Quo, no missed calls, no missed customers. The NBA season is heating up, and DoorDash has found the perfect way to keep fans in their bag all season long. Whether you're watching for the highlights, your fantasy team, or just your favorite player, DoorDash makes every game night even better. DoorDash is the official on-demand delivery platform of the NBA, and they're celebrating with something called the Bag Drop. Every time an NBA player scores 50 points in a game, DoorDash drops 50% off your order with Dash Pass the next day, and you're automatically entered for a chance to win the ultimate fan bag. James Harden, he dropped 50 today, so you guys might want to go and get in on this. We're talking player-inspired drip, exclusive gear, and stuff you'll actually want. I love that it's not just food. You can get everything from snacks and drinks to headphones, ice, even socks, all delivered. DoorDash has you covered for late-night highlights, last-minute watch parties, and double OT fuel. So next time someone goes off for 50, use promo code NBA50 the next day to get 50% off on DoorDash with Dash Pass. Plus your shot at the bag drop. Dash Pass members only 50% off up to $10 a day after a 50-point game with promo code. Terms apply. No purchase necessary. Ends April 13th. Open to U.S. residents 21 or older. Visit DoorDashInYourBag.com for full details. DoorDash in your bag all season long. Heartbreaker.
That was rough. And you texted me, Ben. You were like, "Did we pull it off?" And I was like, "Nah." I've seen this story too many times.
14 in a row, and you know what that means. It's time to let it all out.
Alexander Wright, 6'7". I love the username. Before the last play, how was the best play drawn up by Keyshawn top of the key ISO contested midi? So I'll give you this, Alexander. I think what Keyshawn's bread and butter is taking contact within the mid-range shot, creating separation and hitting it. I think he makes that 6 times out of 10. And obviously he missed it. It was short. But I think Keyshawn George right before that hit a clutch streak to tie the game. It was a really good shot. And on a night where he had 17 points, 12 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 steals, and he wasn't in foul trouble, I think he was the guy that you go to. I understand you can make the argument for Corey Kispert and Cam Whitmore, but Keyshawn George, I mean, I love that mid-range shot. I don't hate it. Now, is it questionable to go back to him and he ultimately turn over that ball? Maybe you like to see Sarr there or some other guy, but I still have so much confidence in Keyshawn making a play. Baltimore, get up, 9-5-3-7. That was a confusing call at the end. It won't hurt to let them win another game. They ultimately tankers. Yeah, I understand. I'm assuming he's talking about the Wizards. We are tankers, but we also want to build culture here. I think one thing that we have to realize is that those teams like the Thunder before they started playing good, the Warriors when they were tanking, at least they were playing competitive in those losses. And up until today and a few other games this season, there's been blowouts. The point differential has been very atrocious. I don't know if you have anything to add, Ben.
So one thing I'll say, just going back to the first comment with Keyshawn George, I felt like they got a good look on the first one. Beforehand, George just did knock it down. I don't think it was a terrible look, and I don't hate the decision to go to him in that situation. The second one, I'm going to have to wait until the presser after we hear from Brian Keefe to get an idea of what the play exactly would have been there had they executed, because I'd hope that they had something drawn up there in the situation. I'm not sure if that was a breakdown where Keyshawn had to go get the basketball in that situation, so I'll reserve the full judgment on it until we hear from Keefe in the post-game press conference. But yeah, it's tough to see them not even get a shot off in that situation, and I had a bad feeling that something like that would happen, especially when Bub was having a hard time just getting it.
It was almost
bounds.
A 5-second violation.
It got close to it, and usually when it gets that dicey, it's tough to execute something for it. The only time in Wizards history where I've seen a near 5-second violation turn into something good was Wall hitting the shot in Game 6. That was nearly 5 seconds, and he saved the day. Well, the Wizards don't have John Wall to save the day right now, so that's the result you're going to get right here in a 14th loss in a row.
Yeah, man. Baltimore also says they led for 42 minutes and still lost. Yeah, I think it was a positive to see at least they were up by 16 at one point. They were keeping it really close. And you just got to keep on moving forward. I think, who do they play next, Ben? Is it Atlanta? Or
Atlanta on Tuesday.
Tuesday. That's another cup game, right?
I think so.
Yep. I'm probably butchering this name wrong. Saiti Koromoski 926. Whitmore needs to start. Again, I understand Cam Whitmore has been playing great recently, but I think him coming off the bench is just more suited for him. That microwave scorer that Ben alludes to. Don't get me wrong, I think he's a really good player, but starting-wise, I think you want to give guys like Keyshawn George, Bilal Coulibaly, because at least they do on both ends of the floor. I'm not saying Cam Whitmore can't play defense, but I just think he's more suited off the bench because, again, if the starters can't get it going, I think Cam Whitmore will definitely give you that spark. Mr. Bond V2. Go ahead, Ben. What about you?
I actually wanted to add something with Cam about his game defensively and the way he's competed on the glass the last couple games is impressive. When he is bought in to what the organization needs from him, I made this point maybe a couple weeks ago. On these nights where you have Cam completely bought in on both sides of the basketball, giving his full effort, crashing the glass with purpose, defending with high intensity, getting into passing lanes. That's something he does sneakily well, is actually defend the passing lanes and deflect passes. When you have that coupled with his offensive capability, he's looked like a really, really good player to me. I think we're just getting started with the story here for Cam Whitmore in D.C. There's probably still like a long way to go in terms of what happens just because the Wizards have a log jam of players and they're still trying to figure out all kinds of different rotations and what's next for everybody. But Cam Whitmore is starting to separate himself a little bit for me. And now that the rotation is shrinking down more and more, I think Whitmore's locked himself in for a guy that should see significant minutes no matter what the situation. He's playing too well to not right now.
So do you think, Ben, he deserves to start?
I don't know if they're they're probably gonna change the lineup like 5 or 10 more times this year. So I think Whitmore will end up starting some games at some point. That's probably how I see it playing out.
Yeah, I think if everyone's healthy, it might be hard for him to get that starting role, but I agree with 18 minutes, that's just too short. You need to give him at least 20 to 20, I'll say 25 at least. I mean, he's been playing great recently. Mr. Bond V2 says CJ and Bub need not to be in that last minute. I'll say Bub was in there just to inbound the ball, so he didn't do much outside of that. CJ, I think before there was a play where he almost turned the ball over and Sarr got it. It was a broken play and then Bilal dunked it, which gave the Wizards a 1-point lead. But in my opinion, it was cool to see a young guy take those shots. I just didn't want to see CJ take it. I'm not saying he's not capable of making it, but again, you want to see the young guys build off of moments like this. FSU for life, 100. Yo, my brethrens, I went to the Hoyas and Caps games today. Eventful. I don't know how to pronounce that, Ben. I might be illiterate. Rendezvous?
Rendezvous.
Rendezvous. What is
Rendezvous.
That? What is that?
He said that he went to both games. Like, that was the rendezvous for the day.
Oh, okay. See, Ben's much more smarter than me, so shout out to you for going, man. Cam needed to be in that last minute. Yeah, I mean, it would have been interesting to see how they would drop a play for Cam Whitmore, maybe in isolation, but we'll just have to see. Vibing and thriving. This is getting ridiculously bad. A night like this, I understand it's a loss, but they were competitive. If it was a game where the Wizards lost by 30 points and Josh Giddey and Tristan Vucevic had 30-point games, then you can be a little bit frustrated or a lot frustrated like these past couple of games. But I understand you're in a 14-game losing streak. On a night like this, there was a clear shot of breaking it. It wasn't your night, and they didn't go with the last second.
You know what's the worst part, though, AB? Is I feel like them being competitive as they were tonight is probably a one-off based on what we've seen. Like, them playing this close in a game, especially late, is an outlier for the majority of games they played this year. So if I had to, bet, if I had to put money on them playing like this on Tuesday, I don't know if I'd feel confident doing it. Like, it's an NBA Cup game, which they stink in, first of all. They're 0-10, the only NBA not to do it. Not that it matters. I think the NBA Cup is dumb anyway. But
we need to win one, right?
Said, I don't know if it's going to happen this year. It might have to be a year number 4 thing for us. But with that being said, that franchise record for losing streak, it's creeping up there. It's rearing its head saying, hey, you thought you could duck us the past three tries? How about fourth time? Fourth time's the charm? I don't know. The way it's looking right now, and hopefully this can start some sort of pattern for them to be more competitive night in. I don't know if we're going to see it. Today was also a night where a lot of the Wizards' issues were masked because the Bulls were shooting really poorly from behind the arc tonight. If the Bulls shot with a much better resemblance of a three-point game, like maybe even as good as 35% or closer to 40%, that was a team that was the third best three-point shooting team in the NBA entering that one. That game would look a lot different. The Wizards were killed on the glass, especially on the offensive side once again. Turned the ball over plenty. There were a lot of issues for the Wizards tonight that were masked because of the Bulls not playing their best offensively.
Yeah, and I'm looking at these next couple of games, Ben. I want you to tell me which game we're going to win. I have Atlanta, Indiana, Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Boston, Atlanta, San Antonio, Memphis, San Antonio, Charlotte, Toronto, Memphis, Phoenix, Milwaukee. That's up until the year ends. How many wins you seen right there, man?
0. I'm just kidding. I don't know. The way the Wizards are constructed right now, it's just very hard to pick them to win a single game at this point. I'm happy they competed tonight. I hope they compete a little bit more. At the end of the day, they're gonna lose so many games this year, and it's by design. That's what they want to do. But it does get embarrassing at a point, though, if you lose 25 to 30 games in a row.
Bro, first of all, shout out to Onion 7747, the CEO
I
of the
love
Cam
Onion,
Whitmore Cam Whitmore fan club. Bro, trust me, did you not hear what I said? I want to see Cam Whitmore get minutes. I'm not saying give him 48 minutes, but I want him to play more. And also, Trey Johnson, when he didn't get enough minutes last night, I was like, yo, play him more. Unfortunately, he was not able to play tonight. So trust me, we want Cam Whitmore to succeed, bro. I mean, the guy is from the DMV, grew up a Wizards fan, 1 year younger than us. I think he has a lot of talent. It's just the rotation and what Coach Brian Keefe. I'll say this, Ben. Mm-hmm. The Pelicans, when Willie Green got fired, the new head coach was like, I don't know his name, but he said, hey, we have Derek Queen. Why don't we play him more? And look what Derek Queen's doing right now. I mean, I'm not going to say it's going to take a new coach to figure out how to maximize Trey Johnson's value, but you see things like that, it's just like, man, maximizing your rookie's efficiency. Why can't we do it here in D.C.?
Sometimes a new coach brings you a new, different spark to the team. And I thought the Wizards did have a spark tonight because in Toronto last night, I think by the time the game got away from them late in the third quarter, they seemed so uninterested in playing the rest of the game. They were like, all right, let's just sim to the end. We'll move on to tomorrow. They moved on to today, and they actually competed. They were out there, and they looked like a team that was desperate to win. So I'll give the Wizards a lot of credit for that. Are they going to replicate that with some more regularity? I don't know. We haven't seen that for a lot of the year, so I can't really be confident that it's going to happen, but I'm hopeful it does.
That's an interesting point right here. Mr. Bond V2 says Kispert deserves to start more after his performance tonight.
Nope.
I know it's
nope.
one night, but I mean, again, I think it's an aberration of it. I don't think Corey Kispert's going to be dropping 20 every year.
That's peak prisoner of the moment to say that Corey Kispert should be. They're trying to develop young players on this team. Corey Kispert was starting tonight because of injuries to Trey Johnson and Chris Middleton not playing in the game.
The trade value is up right now.
Yeah, Corey Kispert's a good player. I like what he does for us off the bench. I don't need to see him that much more, though. It's not really beneficial to the Wizards in terms of long-term what they're trying to do. Like, if showcase him or whatever. Like, have him be what he is off the bench. Corey Kispert, very good basketball player. Like, don't think I'm saying he's not good and he doesn't deserve to have an opportunity to play and contribute to the team. I'm not with that like notion though that he should be starting. I feel like that's prisoner of the moment.
Yeah, 100%. I think, let me see, before we get on out of here. Thank you guys. Saturday night, 11 p.m., 49 people in here talking about the Washington Wizards.
Sickos.
The 14th loss in a row. You said what, sickos?
Sickos, man. Watching Wizards basketball for a 14 straight loss, 11 p.m.
D'Angelo Poole 8258 says Vucevic was good tonight. That's a bright spot. Yeah, I love TV. It was nice to see him bounce back after the performance that he had last night against Toronto. I think with more reps, hopefully he can develop. I know he's a second-round pick from 2023, and second-rounders don't usually long. At least recently for this franchise, we haven't seen second-round picks that actually make it this far, but actually contributing. I think that's what we're seeing from TV. Leon Fresco, 210. Shout out to you, Leon. If Cam Whitmore could be paid by the assist, he would be an above-average NBA player. We love Cam Whitmore, the explosiveness that he brings. I mean, again, I'll keep mentioning it. It seems like every game there's a highlight dunk that's just like it's always going to be on ESPN or SportsCenter or House of Highlights, and you just can't miss it. But I think we're going to wrap it up, Ben, unless you have anything else you wanted to mention.
Tristan Vucevic, a +7 tonight to lead the Wizards. So after him being, I think he was like a -25 yesterday or something for the worst.
That's a bounce back right there.
Yeah, good bounce back for him. All right, but that'll do it for us here on Locked On Wizards. We thank you as always for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every single day. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network where it's your team every day. 14 losses in a row for this Washington Wizards team, but we're going to stick through it, everybody. Stay in the fight. For my co-host, Abdullah Ayubi, I'm Ben Strober. We'll talk to you tomorrow night.